Hey guys, Stitches here, and welcome to the 100 subscriber special, or at least part of it. I'm not really sure yet, but this is at least something I wanted to do for the 100 subscriber special. And if I sound a little sick, I'm just getting over being sick. I wanted to wait until after I was sick. And yeah, if you can read the screen slash thumbnail slash name of the video. This is a Q&A, and you might be saying, how are you doing a Q&A when you didn't ask questions? So I'm going to start by saying this. If you have any question that you wish for me to answer, feel free to leave it in the comments, and I'll probably answer it. Excuse me. I'll probably answer your comment question as long as you leave it there. But also, there's a list of questions I developed with the help of a few friends and just me adding in some questions that I thought would be interesting. So, these are kind of like questions I thought I should share about myself. And, yeah, I guess we'll get into it here. Just give me one moment because I have to reorganize some stuff on my other screen real quick. All right. I got these questions in an order that I think would be pretty acceptable. So let's get into it. So the first question here is, what is the reason for the name Stitches Johnson? So this is something I've said a few times, but Stitches Johnson was actually a character I originally came up with as sort of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Original character idea. They played the Fluffle deck, and yeah, I kind of played this character in a sort of role-playing game fashion where people would kind of, I'd get into these role-playing games when I was younger of like, oh, we'd pretend like it was like the Yu-Gi-Oh anime and Duel, and I would use the Fluffle deck. So that's where the name originates from. As for why it's my name now, I previously was not familiarized with a Discord bot called Tupperbox, which is used a lot for those roleplay situations. So for a while, my name was just Stitches Johnson, and I haven't really tried to change it since. Next question is your real name Johnson? No. My real name, though, funnily enough, my first name at least, you can switch out the first four letters of Johnson to make my real name. So my real name first name does end in son. Third question is, why did you start YouTube? And this is kind of a big question. So I started YouTube because from a very young age, I kind of became infatuated with the idea of I could play video games and people will find it entertaining. Like even before like being a YouTuber was like a big thing people were doing as like a job. Um, people were doing it as hobbies, and I'm like, oh, that's a thing I want to do. And I currently do it as a hobby, but like if it could become a job, maybe, or at least a source of income. But I'm not fully sure because when you have a job like YouTube, like it can kind of take the fun out of the process. So, especially when it's like super ride or die about, oh, is this video going to get monetized or not? You know, it gets complicated. But why did I start YouTube? It was because growing up, I used to watch a lot of YouTubers, and I knew pretty early on in my life that I would want to I would want to do Let's Plays. And, you know, it's kind of been something I've been pursuing like my whole life. And then only within the past like 5 or so years have I been able to really pursue that, because I got all the tools available to me I wanted to. For a long time, I didn't know about stuff like OBS, so I remember I have a few failed attempts I've mentioned before at like YouTube channels where I would try to like record on an Android device using Android screen capture softwares. So, you know, that was kind of a thing. But, you know, in more recent years, I decided, you know, I'm going to take another crack at it because I was finishing high school. I'm like, we'll get into it. And then I didn't end up uploading my first video for a couple months after. So, yeah. But I started YouTube mainly because I wanted to entertain others the way others had entertained me. So I wanted to kind of, you know, I'm like, I want to do that. And so I decided to do that. Next question is, do you have a romantic partner? I do. I've mentioned it a few times, but I try not to talk about it too much, due to privacy reasons. But I do have a romantic partner. We've been together for 5 or so years. And, yeah, it's been going pretty steady. They're pretty swell, so I keep them around in my life, and vice versa. They think I'm pretty neat, so they keep me around in their life. I won't really elaborate too much on their identity since I try to keep them super separate from this, since I think it's very awkward when a content creator is like, hey, I'm getting my relationship partner involved in the content, and then they break up, and then it becomes like everybody else's business. Do you have any planned future Let's Plays or other projects? I read that question wrong. It was, do you have any planned Let's Plays or projects in the future? Quite a few. There are a lot of Let's Plays I want to do, but ones that I would say are like de facto planned is kind of... it's kind of debatable. So like if I go into YouTube Studio on my other screen real quick, I could kind of talk about some of the projects, because I have a lot of playlists made for Let's Plays I want to do in the future, and then there's like some more direct ones I want to do. At some point I want to Let's Play a Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. The Ace Attorney games I find pretty enjoyable. I played the first one a while back and kind of on the 3DS, and I haven't really moved forward from that. There's a remake of the 3DS trilogy on Steam, so I own that. There's a game called Witch and Hero that was for the 3DS I thought was pretty good. Final Fantasy VII Remake is listed on here, despite me never actually having played that game. I probably just put that on there. There's Xenoblade Chronicles listed on here. I don't know if that's going to happen, because I haven't even finished Xenoblade. It's so long. There's Let's Play Punch-Out for the Wii. Art of Balance is a game. Super Smash Bros. Brawl's Subspace Emissary mode with Nate. Speaking of Nate, we'll talk to them later. Cave Story Plus. Of course, the various other NES Mega Man games like 4, 5, and 6. Undertale with Nate. Miitopia, potentially with Nate. Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario 64. I don't know why I specifically denote the Shindo version on here. Mother 3, Mother 2, and Mother 1, aka the Earthbound series. What's on the next page? I have Minecraft Java Edition listed here, but when it comes to Minecraft, I kind of already started recording a series on there. It's going to be largely for a while exclusive to the Ko-Fi page, so you know you can go there. Kirby's Dream Land 2 and 3 are both on there. Let's Play Persona, Let's Play Super Mario Land 2, Let's Play Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Is this, I think in parentheses I have next to it Mario and Luigi RPG for some reason. Let's Play Metroid Fusion, Metroid 4, Let's Play Super Metroid. Let's Play AM2R, another Metroid 2 remake. Let's Play Metroid Zero Mission. So, like, you know, I got the Metroid series on there. Pikmin 3 Deluxe and Pikmin 2 are on there. So those are, like, kind of games I have lined up. Like, I already made playlists for them that are privated back in, like, I made those videos back in 2021. I made the playlist back in 2021 for that. I made them the same day I made the Introduction to series, which funnily enough still has one. I do kind of want to return to that Introduction to format. The Introduction to series is still something I want to pursue. I just felt like I couldn't really do it for a while. So that's another thing I kind of want to do. As for some other future projects, currently I'm working on the second part of the Metal Fight Beyblade retrospective. I'm currently about halfway recorded with it. Haven't really started editing it too much. So, you know. Those are all projects. And then I have some other projects in my backlog that I've been working on. Pretty notably, there's the Cobblemon Rivals stuff I was doing. Fun fact about Cobblemon Rivals, I haven't actually played on it in quite a while, so that series might just be done where it's at right now. What did I record on the 20th? That's weird. Oh, that's this video. I'm fucking stupid. I'm like, that's weird. There's a corrupt video file here. Huh. Oh, it's just this video. Because it hasn't finished encoding yet, it's listed as 0 bytes. Oh my lord. But yeah, the last time I actually recorded video footage for the Metal Fight Beyblade retrospective was September 3rd of this year, so. And it's currently October 20th, so it's been, it's been over a month. It's been almost 2 months. It's starting to approach on 2 months where I haven't recorded much. But there's also a Subnautica playthrough I was recording with Nate. There is there's 13 videos on this. I didn't think we had recorded that many. But yeah, the Subnautica playthrough is definitely one that Nate and I were both looking forward to uploading. It's probably not going to be done for quite a while, though. And then I have the Portal 2 co-op mode mostly recorded, but don't want to upload that until I have been, you know, fully situated with that. So, as for how big my backlog of videos is, which is the next question, it's also, you know, it's pretty decently big. But, what is your favorite type of game? I would say generally I like RPGs quite a bit, but lately, RPGs have kind of become kind of strenuous to me. There's just constantly RPGs coming out, and RPGs have turned into these big, long, you know, commitments of games. I think generally, like, I can only do 1 or 2 RPGs at a time anymore. Lately I've been playing Pokemon Legends ZA, which dropped like on Thursday, so like a couple days ago. I got it on Friday because my copy got delayed by 1 day. Thanks, FedEx. But, you know, it's whatever. Still got my copy of it. I got a playmat from Best Buy since I pre-ordered it through them. A lot of people pre-ordered it through the Pokemon Center in New York, which apparently was like not a good idea because a lot of pre-orders were canceled. So RPGs generally, but I do like a good platformer every so often. I know lately I started playing this game that was been teaching me kind of the basics of Python, which is called a newer game called The Farmer Was Replaced. I'd recommend you go check it out on Steam. Just look up The Farmer Was Replaced. I'm probably not going to remember to link it. But, yeah, it's just kind of a fun video. Or fun game. You know, it's a problem-solving thing where it's like you kind of need to figure out certain problems with, like you control this drone by using Python prompts. So, you know. But generally, RPGs. What are some of your favorite games? Pokemon Violet is probably my favorite Pokemon game. Followed closely by Pokemon Crystal. I really like Kingdom Hearts 1 a lot, but I would say my favorite Kingdom Hearts game I've played so far out of Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, Chain of Memories, Days, and Birth by Sleep. I would say either Days or Birth by Sleep are my favorite out of the series. But the Kingdom Hearts series, you know, is up there. What else? Kirby games. Love Kirby games. Really like Kirby Triple Deluxe. I'd sadly have never played Planet Robobot. I was kind of just like, I kind of thought people didn't really like Robobot for a long time, but I found out it's like one of the most critically acclaimed Kirby games. Never had Superstar Ultra either. I eventually got Kirby Star Allies, but I haven't beaten that, and lately I've been playing Kirby in the Forgotten Land. The Switch 2 version that came out like back in August or so. And that's pretty cool. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles is notoriously like my favorite Sonic game ever. But I thought Shadow Generations was pretty cool. I like Shadow the Hedgehog quite a lot, despite it being like, it's a very flawed game, but I think there's stuff to enjoy in it. I just think that you will drive yourself insane if you try to 100% that game, because you have to get like every possible route combination, which is a lot. So you know. But those are some of my favorite games. What are some of your the next question is also, what are some of your favorite non-game pieces of media, TV shows, movies, these books, etc. Um, I kind of switched this one around. It says games in there, that's why I stuttered, but some of my favorite non-game pieces of media are some anime. I don't really watch anime a whole lot anymore just because it takes up a lot of time that generally I don't have. But you know, obviously I really enjoy Beyblade quite a bit. If you haven't noticed by some of my extraneous content I make, is that even the right word? I don't know. But like, you know, I made a whole thing to celebrate Beyblade Day where I did like a Beyblade Day battle festival with my ex-bays. Um I have been working on a video. Oh, I guess this ties back into the future project thing. I have been working on this like tournament idea. It was called like the Hypersphere Drop Attack X Tourney, which involved me using X Bays and the Beyblade Burst Drop Attack Stadium because they hit so hard they like send each other up in the air and shit. I thought it was a really cool idea for a stadium to use them in. And then I'm like, I'm gonna make a tournament out of it, but it got so big because it was like 32 bays. There's like 32 bays or something like that in there. From like multiple different lines. No like project crossover stuff though, mainly because I think to this day there has not been a project crossover stamina type. And even then they stand like no chance against some of those other bays. But you know, as for some other anime I enjoy, I really enjoyed exclusively the first season of Sword Art Online. But I've heard it gets very bad after. I didn't really watch Sword Art Online 2. I just watched the original. Um if I remember right, Sword Art Online's like weird because it's not based on a particular manga, but like a web comic, I think. I don't know. One Punch Man I used to watch, but I haven't watched it since season one. I used to watch My Hero Academia, but just haven't in a long time. I think I just kind of grew out of it. TV shows I enjoy. There's some other animated show, like adult animation I enjoy. When I say adult animation, I don't mean like porn. I mean like regular like shit like you'd find on Adult Swim. So like Smiling Friends, you know, that's been a good one made by Zach Hadel and Michael Cusick. Cusack? I don't know how you pronounce it. Michael Cusack. You know, very good show. Very great. I've been rewatching King of the Hill. I really like King of the Hill. It's a very grounded satire show. Um every so often I'll catch an episode of Family Guy or South Park, but like I just can't watch those shows anymore. So, books. Are there any books I really enjoy? I mean, there's manga, but I'm not a big reader. I really can't read too well because of my ADHD issues. Anyways, moving on to the next question. What is something that you are terrible at and you wish you were good at? I have a few answers to this, one of which is reading. I like cannot sit down and read a book or something. It's very non-engaging for me. But there are some other things I wish I was better at. I wish I was better at keeping a schedule. I'm very bad at keeping schedules. Really, aside from YouTube, I'm not a good schedule keeper. So, you know, problems. I wish I could keep a good sleep schedule, I guess. I kind of wish I was just better at thinking. I don't know, is existing a thing, like an answer to this? I don't really know. But, yeah. Those are a couple of things. What is a very trivial thing you have a very strong opinion on? God, there's so many trivial things. I think that a lot of people expect too much from modern video games. I think some video games just want to be like a fun little thing when they're developed, but some people expect them to be like these big, innovative fucking things. Like, I think that's become a thing with Pokemon, where, like, unfortunately, with Pokemon, people are expecting every new Pokemon game to, like, shove the bar a mile. When it's like, really, we've kind of hit a ceiling for what Pokemon can achieve right now. Like, Pokemon going open world has been one thing. But I have very strong opinions about that because I think that a lot of people just like aren't, they just aren't very you know, they aren't very considerate. So I guess that's a very trivial thing, but another thing is that um I think tip culture is shit. I don't think tips should be a required thing. I think tips should be an earned thing, not like an expected thing. I think the fact that jobs can like cut, like jobs where where tips are like a customary service can cut down pay even more. I think that's a big problem because I think that generally speaking, people at those jobs should make what they make currently and then some from their tips. So like I think they should make their current wage, whatever it is, but like then get tips off of it. So like what I mean is like what they get now plus tips on average, they should make that every single day. Like based on the hours they work. Then they get the tips like gratuity bonus and stuff like that. Do you have any mental issues? Okay, so here's where we get a little bit of admission time. I know I've mentioned that like I've made like the joke that I'm autistic in the past. Truth is, I honestly don't know if I'm autistic. I've never been diagnosed with autism. When I went to go get diagnosed with autism, they said I was close to being on the spectrum, but like with the way they redefined the spectrum shortly before, like a couple months before I went in for the thing, they kind of said I didn't qualify for autism or Asperger's syndrome. So, I technically am not autistic. I just make the joke all the time that I am. I've grown up with autism in my household quite a bit. So, like, you know, I've been dealing with it in the form of like not necessarily suffering from it directly, but like suffering from it in the sense that like I live with somebody who has pretty severe autism. But as for mental issues I do have, I've mentioned in the past I suffer from depression, a major depressive disorder. Which causes me to kind of have a few different things. One, it can cause anxiety problems. I have those. It can cause me to lack motivation. I can just get very sad and burnt out. You know, typical depression stuff. Sometimes I just don't feel anything. Excuse me. What else? What else? I already said anxiety. I've kind of always had anger issues, but it's not really been a diagnosed thing. But like I used to really have a bad temper, but it's kind of gotten better over time. But the ADHD that I suffer from is also pretty bad. For those who don't know, I have ADHD type inattentive. Or I think it's type inattentive. It might be both types anyway, or the mixed type. I don't remember how it's defined because I haven't like gotten reevaluated, so it's like mine's still just ADHD. It's not like reevaluated into type hyperactive or inattentive. But speaking of that, when it comes to the like type inattentive thing, or when it comes to the type like hyperactive inattentive stuff, I'm not really sure, but I've suffered from ADHD my whole life, and it has negatively impacted me quite a bit. It has made me suffer in school, suffer in my day-to-day life. I'm unmedicated for it, which I don't recommend. I don't really take any mental health medication, even though I probably should. I've been thinking about going back on it, talking about going back on it with my doctor. I think we talked about it last time, but I forgot what she said. But I was thinking about talking about going on ADHD medication to help me curb some of my tendencies and make it easier to adapt to certain adult problems that just kind of are hard with ADHD. My previous doctor, when I was still technically under a child doctor, because I am only 21, so like up until last year, like just before last year, I was on, like I was 19 or 20. I was like 19 or 20 when I had the conversation with my child doctor, like, yeah, I need to get a new doctor because I was starting to have adult problems related to like drugs and alcohol and stuff. I don't have problems with those substances, but it was just like, I started talking about how I'm like, yeah, I'm experimenting, with drugs and alcohol, recreationally and stuff like that. And safely, might I add. I don't recommend doing that stuff, but if you're going to, do it safe. Have trusted people around you. But yeah, so mental health problems, basically boils down to depression, ADHD, anger issues. This next question is one I added in, and I kind of wanted to clarify because I've mentioned it a lot in some older videos from a few years ago. It's what was the beef with your mother? So for those who don't know, there's kind of some videos where I like either passive aggressively or just straight up talk shit about my mom. And the reason why is it's definitely deserved, but I've kind of moved on from it. So me and my mom had this falling out shortly before I started my YouTube channel here. And it was mainly tied to the fact that she wasn't really acting like much of a mom. She wanted to do this thing where she wanted to basically treat me like an adult and, give me those responsibilities, or give me like those privileges of like an adult. But in exchange, she wanted to dump a lot of her parental duties for caring for my other siblings and shit off onto me. And yeah, that's just not really okay, because then I wasn't having my needs met as a child. But it was like, I was a teenager, but it's like I still wasn't having like my own emotional and mental needs met. So I got into this huge fight with my mom and was like, I'm fucking done. I'm moving out. And so I did. I moved in with my dad. And for like years, we didn't talk. And then she got in a motorbike accident. And so I talked with her, or I like waited a few months after to talk with her. And unfortunately, she doesn't really remember like how she was a bad mother a lot, but she's been trying to do her best to make it up to me. In a lot of ways, like she really apologized for it, and I mean like really, really apologized for it. We had a whole conversation about it. So like she apologized for it, was like, yeah, you know, I definitely fucked up as a mom. And like I kind of accepted that apology and I was like, okay, well we can move on from this now. So we still don't talk much, but that's just because she's not really in my immediate life. She lives in a different state, so I kind of just we just kind of don't talk. But the beef with my mom was basically it boiled down to stuff regarding my heavily disabled sister where like my she kept pushing like these things off onto me and then was like trying to have me deal with it but then tell me how to deal with it, but I'm like that's not how it works. It works this way. And she's like, don't talk back to me, I'm your mom. And I'm like, well, you're not acting like my mom, you're acting like my fucking boss. You can be one or the other. So but that was the beef with my mom. But main thing is it's resolved. I don't really have very much anger about it anymore. Especially because like after my mom got in this motorbike accident, I guess I could talk about that. My mom got in a really bad motorbike accident where she used to have a Harley Davidson bike, and she got into a pretty bad motorcycle accident and has some memory loss problems because of it. So, you know, it kind of, what the fuck was that? My like screen turned off and turned back on. That was weird. Um, you know, she has kind of like mixed recollection, but I feel like after the motorbike accident, she has really changed as a person. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things where maybe like it scrambled her brain a little bit and kind of ended up making her a better person. I don't know. Anyways, on a much lighter note, the next question. Of all your videos you have made, which ones would you say have been your most favorite to create? Oh man, we gotta open up. There's been a lot of lately that have been really fun to make. I thought that was an analog horror thing on the side of screen. Pretty recently I made a video called Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes with Nate. Um, this is basically a game where you defuse bombs with the help of the other person. Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes was very, very fun to make. But Sled Game, pretty much all the videos that involve Nate, who has been making pretty prevalent appearances throughout recent media on the channel. Nate, I would say it is very fun to make videos with. I feel like he kind of just makes making videos a little easier for me because I don't have to induce the comedy all by myself and ping pong off the game. Like I can mostly ping pong off of him. And when I say ping pong, I mean like the back and forth banter. I can now like he's there and I can interact with him. So yeah. I think those are pretty fun to make. The Henry Stickmin videos are pretty fun to make as well. As for some other videos that I think are or have been pretty fun to make. I liked making the Pikmin series, but there was one small problem with the Pikmin series. That being microphone stuff. But, you know, otherwise it was pretty fun. What else? The Metal Fight Beyblade retrospective, though, was very fun. I really like making these video essay type videos where I can just, like, talk and not play a game, because it allows me to have a more articulated conversation. But I guess one of my favorite videos to make, just because it's ridiculous, is I have a 3-hour and 19-minute long video in the Legends Arceus Let's Play, which is the Tomb of Spirits, where it is me literally going and collecting all of the wisps and doing all of the stuff regarding the wisp mechanic in that game to get Spiritomb. But I also really enjoyed making the Henry Stickmin videos. Those were fun. Of all the videos you have made, which ones would you say have been your least favorite to create? There's quite a few. The WarioWare series up this far has been very annoying to make because I have to do audio sync for it. Basically, I have to, like, rely on audio cues in the video because there's no clap sync possible. I have to rely on audio cues in the video to determine whether or not, like, the video is synced. And some of the videos are a little unsynced, and it gets problematic. But, you know. Other least favorites. I've had my fair share of issues with, some other previous videos, I guess. But, I guess streaming is one thing. Like, I don't really like streaming all that much. I think streaming kind of sucks for me just because it's kind of strenuous. And, like, I technically don't have to do it, so... You know, that is one thing. I just realized that, like, this series that I'm looking at on here does not actually have a thumbnail on it, despite each of those videos getting, like, thousands of views. But pretty notably, my least favorite videos to have ever recorded on this channel, funnily enough, ties to the, it ties in to the streaming thing, which was Let's Play Live Sonic Adventure DX. For those who don't know what that was, basically I had a period of time where my capture card, or I had a situation where I couldn't record properly. So what I was doing was, I played through Sonic Adventure, and I played through Sonic Adventure DX on the Xbox 360. And, yeah, these videos are pretty dated. They're from 2023. The last ones are from 2023, but it started in 2022. And it's probably one of the weirder Let's Plays I have ever done. It's one of the few games on my channel where I am so dissatisfied with the playthrough itself because of the lack of editing for it that I'm just like, I want to redo it. I really do. I will always keep those videos up as like a reminder of what I've had to go through to get to where I am. But like, Jesus Christ, those videos like annoy me so much. Playing the game, I was just having so much problems like actually recording the game, sitting down to like stream the game, and then like some of those videos just like have weird streaming issues. My bandwidth was bad. It's just it was a travesty. The next question is, who is Nate and how did you meet? This is the question. I probably should have put this sooner because I didn't realize how much I'd talk about Nate up to this point. So Nate is somebody who's been appearing more recently in videos, and I made a post on Blue Sky. I was going to put it on Twitter, but it didn't copy over properly, and I just kind of forgot about it. But I put on Blue Sky, it was like I kind of asked how people's reactions were to Nate, but Nate is my IRL bestie, like probably my #1 best friend. Him and I first met in middle school in gym class in the 6th grade. Where coming out of the 5th grade, I lost a lot of my friends near the end of the 5th grade. So my friend group was kind of fucked going into 6th grade. So Nate and I became friends because we were kind of the two big kids in our gym class. Like, when I say big, I mean chunky. I think I started talking to him by saying something about his trapper. But we just kind of started talking, and it was like, it's a good example of a friendship I actually have where like I just started it with a very organic thing, and we kind of just became best friends, and he's been my best friend since. Even to the point where in the 8th grade we were locker partners. Since my school required 2 students to share a locker, you could either register to have your locker partner thing, or you could either register to pick your locker partner or be randomly assigned one. So in either the 7th or 8th grade, we were locker partners. I think it was the 8th grade. But then, you know, we've obviously been friends ever since. So Nate's, you know, my IRL bestie, so he likes being included in the videos. He thinks it's fun. He has always kind of been interested in YouTube, but like he isn't really interested in the grind. Of YouTube. So he doesn't do it himself, though he did attempt to. I don't know if any of those videos are still up, but yeah. Anyway, the next question is, do you believe in any conspiracy theories? Not really. Nate asked this question, and I've like asked his help with answering it. Nate has one where he says his conspiracy theory is that handbag companies and women's jeans companies make women's jeans pockets non-existent to small, so that way more handbags can be sold, which I'm like, that's definitely true. I feel, because a lot of those, there are a lot of brands that like, or like big companies that own multiple brands like that, where they're like, they own a handbag brand and then a jeans brand, so they make the pockets smaller. I don't really have very many conspiracy theories. Not ones that really, I don't really know if they'd classify as a conspiracy theory, but yeah, I don't really have any. I'm not like a flat earther or anything. I do know a few flat earthers. They're like family friends, and I'm like, I don't fucking know, man. I mean, I guess like I think it's possible for aliens to exist, but I'm not like, I'm not a big believer of like aliens built the pyramids or like insert structure. I'm like, I think people actually built the pyramids. So, yeah, I don't really know about that one. Next one is, what fictional character do you relate to the most? I very much relate to Roxas from Kingdom Hearts. He very much has this storyline of, like, feeling inferior to Sora because, I mean, in a sense, he is. Since he's just Sora without the heart. Without Sora. He's Sora without the Sora, so he's kind of, you know, got that issue. So, but Roxas also has a lot of issues of like caring so deeply for his friends. He like fights just out of pure rage and stuff like that. Things I can relate to pretty heavily. There are definitely, I feel like, other characters I could relate to, but like Roxas has a wide struggle that's like I feel like I relate to the most, tying in with my problems with depression of like not really being able to fit in. Next thing is, what would be the first thing you would buy if you suddenly had infinite money? Um, Honestly, probably food. Because I probably, excuse me, just order food if I had infinite money. But the first, like, big thing I'd probably buy is probably a fair amount of video games. Anyways, next question. What are some of your biggest regrets in life? Oh man, I regret the way I've treated a lot of people in my past. I feel like certain things I have said to people just as pretty fucking inexcusable. Some of the things like fits I've thrown, you know, just awful, awful behavior on my part that I feel like is very cringe to look back on. I'm just like, ugh. But some of my other biggest regrets in life are just not really excuse me, taking certain opportunities to do certain things. I feel like starting this channel, not starting it sooner, you know, I feel like that's been a big thing. So, yeah. What is one of your favorite jokes? That is a toughie because I don't know how many I can tell that are actually like appropriate for me to say on YouTube. There's obviously ones I think that are funny that are like more racial and stuff like that. Like I definitely think that that is a thing. But there's a couple of good ones I like. I love the ones where it's like someone walks into a bar, ow, or something, where it's like they walk into a bar and then because it like means more literally. One I saw that was on Oni Plays was Mario walks into a bar. Oomph. I'm just like, that's so dumb. But another one I like is I can levitate birds and no one even cares. There's another one that's a quote from the Game Grumps where Aaron's like getting mad at I think Battle Kid, and he's like, I'm a goddamn gigolo ready to burst, and she's saying 3 more minutes at least. That's one I say when I crash out a little bit, just because it's funny. It's very relieving to say. If you don't know what a gigolo is, it's kind of like a male stripper, from my understanding. It's kind of a dated term, though. You don't really hear people talk about gigolos anymore. What small things annoy you to an says international degree, but I'm assuming it means irrational degree. Um, some small things that annoy me are like certain behaviors that people can have. Like my younger brother does certain things where I just want to be like, bro, you need to stop. What are you doing? You know, like, why are you doing this? What's your aim? What's your goal? Why are you doing it? You know? So, my younger brother tends to do things that annoy me. That's siblings for you. Anyway, we're pretty near the end because the next three questions are the last three. If you could change your name, would you? I don't really think so. I like my real name. In terms of my YouTube name, maybe. I probably would have just changed it to something else, but like Stitches Johnson, I feel like is a pretty iconic name. So, next question. If you could live in any fictional world, where would you live? The Destiny Islands from Kingdom Hearts seems like a cool thing, but I know some people would probably say something like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or I don't know. But excuse me. I definitely think that like there is one. Oh, I guess Animal Crossing. Like if I could live in the Animal Crossing universe, that'd be great. Anyway, the very final question is, where do you plan on heading now that you got 200 subs or 100 subs, not 200. I'm getting ahead of myself. Uh where do I plan on heading now that I have 100 subscribers? To 200, obviously. Really as far as I can go. You know, I don't really plan on stopping, but you know, the channel is how many years old? We're like nearing the anniversary of the channel actually. I don't know, it's coming up. Or at least in terms of date creation, but you know, I first uploaded on this channel on July 7th of 2021. So, you know, I also remember like I finished my first Let's Play on like July 30th, 2021, and I didn't start the next one until September 7th. And then like September 28th was like the fourth part of that Let's Play, and then it skips. Until December 7th. It goes from September 28th to December 7th. But yeah, I guess just onward and upward. Hoping I kind of talked about the future projects I want to do. I'm hoping that maybe I could potentially do a collab with another person, like another channel at some point. Obviously that, you know, I've been doing collabs with Nate, but you know, maybe once I get some attention, I could potentially do a collab with people. The problem is that like I know how content creators can get, so it's kind of hard for me to trust content creators at all, really. But, yeah. Oh, I guess one thing is at some point, if I ever get back to streaming, I did fix my Terraria world by uncorrupting a lot of it. And when I say uncorrupting, I mean the in-game mechanic. I have like a 6-hour stream of me playing Terraria. What is this shit? But, what was the last Terraria video I even made? Episode 17? Yeah, last one time I uploaded Terraria was like almost like approaching 3 year or yeah, like approaching 3 whole years ago. But I really want to get back into the game and kind of complete it. But yeah, that's really all I have to say here. That was the Q&A. Just remember, if you have any questions you want answered by me, you can leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them if I can. Like, then again, if you ask something that I feel is too personal, I will give the question not to. You could submit like lists of questions. Note that if you're watching this video obviously really far in the future, I'm probably not going to respond to it. But like, at least when this video comes out, I will probably be keeping an eye out on the comments. And, yeah. Thank you for 100. Let's get to, 200. I mean, we're already a quarter of the way to 200 because we're at like 123 now because I took so long to make this video. I've just been, a lot of it's been like trying to find time to do it with the regular scheduled content. And then also like figuring out what to do. There is some other stuff I potentially want to do, but I have to think about it. But I might do another 100 subscriber special. I actually had multiple ideas of ones to do for this, like one of which was I considered doing a sort of lunch with Stitches segment where I would order my favorite food from my local Indian place and kind of just have a conversation with you guys. But then I'm like, I don't really think people want to see me eat on camera, at least not since the Wendy's video. But yeah. Anyways, so thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, check the links in the description. There's links to my social media pages on Blue Sky and Twitter, links to my Twitch page, so when I eventually live stream again, you can follow it and get a notification. And then there's lastly a link to my Ko-Fi page, $3 a month for a membership that gets you access to some special exclusive content benefits. Anyway, yeah, I will see you guys in the next video, whatever that may be. Bye.